Most people don't want the Lord's advice. They say, I think I have a better way. God's way looks too hard. I think those rules are outdated. They think they found some cheat code in life. Like, I can live the way I want and still be happy and have joy. I can still, cheat and lie and steal my way to the top and still have that happiness I'm looking for. That's a lie. God's laws never change because truth never changes. The 10 Commandments are still valid today, as they ever have been. As an example, you have to worship God. Do not make idols. Do not make anything above Him. Do not misuse God's name. Keep the Sabbath day holy. Do not murder. Do not cheat. Do not steal. Do not covet. And that's just the start. Those are not old rules. They are principles that live on forever. Jesus came and He didn't lower the standards, He raised them. He said not to murder, but in addition to that, don't even hate. Don't commit adultery. In addition to that, don't lust. Don't just love those that love you back. Love your enemies. Love them that hate you and persecute you. That is the path to the best life. There's no shortcuts or no cheat codes. But what does it take to raise a child to desire God? Things not of this world. Not to feel like they're forced, scared into obedience, but actually want Him. In the Book of Mormon, there's a prophet, Enos, that talks about his struggle with the Lord and his journey. Enos didn't stumble into a relationship with God by accident. Before Enos ever wrestled with God in the forest, his father had already wrestled for his soul. Listen to this verse. Behold, it came to pass that I, Enos, knowing my father, that he was just man, for he taught me in my language, and also in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. And the words which I had often heard my father speak concerning eternal life and the joy of the saints sunk deep into my heart. So before Enos ever went to the forest, before he ever cried unto the God for his forgiveness of his sins, a foundation had been laid at home. His father had that connection in heaven. He taught his son what was of greater worth. He talked about the joy he had found in that connection with heaven, the joy of eternal life. And Paul teaches the same thing in the New Testament, to bring them up in nurture and admonition of the Lord. It's not a suggestion, it is a commandment. What does it mean, though, to raise your children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord? Nurture being something that you think of mothers doing well. Nurture meaning, educating, disciplining, formation, good habits. Not punishment just for punishment's sake, but shaping a life with intention. Nurture is consistency, routines, encouragement when it's needed. Not just teaching a child how to live, but not just what to avoid, but how to live. Fathers don't raise children by accident. They aim them like an arrow, and an arrow is aimed at a target. So what does admonition mean? It's warning, counsel, instruction, gentle correction, calling attention to truth, warning of danger, pointing out consequences, both good and bad. Admonition is not yelling. It is spoken from a place of love. When it's done right, it doesn't break a child's spirit, but it strengthens it. And then the last part of that verse, of the Lord. This is kind of the most important part. The source is God. The standard is God. The goal is to have your children become more like God. Fathers aren't inventing truth. They're declaring it and representing Jesus. Jesus came to demonstrate how God is. As we connect as fathers to Jesus, we show our families how Jesus is, so they live up to that same example. It's a big long chain connected to Him. We're connecting our family to the Lord's vine. It gives us life. We represent Jesus in their lives. All discipline, instruction, correction must reflect Jesus' character: loving, firm, just, merciful. The goal is not to control somebody, but the goal is converting someone's heart to Him. So why did this work for Enos? Why did he desire God? The scriptures tell us he heard his father's voice speak of eternal life and the joy of the saints. His father didn't just warn him about sin, but he showed him what was better, because he had already made that connection himself. Children pursue what they believe leads to joy. And Enos believed God was joy because his father lived like that. So here's where it gets personal. Before you give advice to your children, fix yourself. Make yourself clean before the Lord. Children can spot a hypocrite 1,000 miles away. They will not take advice from someone who is not living the advice they give. Example is not optional, it's everything. Think about it this way. If you are planning to summit a mountain, you don't make up your own route. You don't just start climbing and hope it works. You study the guidebook. You learn the known paths because your life depends on it. A good guide in life doesn't push you from below. He calls you up the mountain from above. A real guide has climbed the mountain many times. He's conquered it. He knows where the fault's roots are. He knows where people get hurt. He knows when they quit. He's not winging it. He doesn't guess. He becomes the guidebook. He lives his life as proof as it can be done. He stands at the top of the mountain and can honestly say, I've been where you are. I've made the climb. It's hard. It's worth the fight. The greater joy awaits you up here with me. Come and join me. Jesus wrote the guidebook. He doesn't push us from below. He calls us upward. There is no easy way. There's no shortcut. There's no cheat code. He is the way. So the question I have for you is, what are some things your parents taught you that helped you in life? What advice are you giving your children? More importantly, what desire are you planting in them? Comfort or character, or ease or eternal life, self or focus on God? God's purpose is our joy. Real joy comes from living His way with no regrets. And as fathers, we are the first teachers of that truth. Your words matter. Your example matters. Teach your children how to reach heaven, because one day, alone in their forest, the words you spoke will either rise them up or they won't.